Hey everybody, Melissa Henyon here. Okay, psychic medium and more intuitive. I have a topic for today, and it's something that I've been wanting to do a little bit of a show on, so to speak, or do a video on. That's probably a better way to explain it. It's something um, it gets brought up in my world quite often. So um, I was like, you know what? Stop putting it off. Stop being afraid of saying what you feel in your heart. This is what you tell people every single day. Speak their truth, blah, blah. So here I am speaking my truth today. And what is this topic, you ask? I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bible. Now, let me just start off by saying I am not a biblical scholar. But in this situation, I don't really know that you have to be. Because I think that there's going to be things in the Bible that are going to come up all of the time that you can use for your advantage, no matter what side you're trying to persuade to come over to the other side. Does that make sense? So if I wanted to say pro-medium, I could probably find things in the Bible that are pro-medium. If I wanted to say no medium, I could probably, well, I know I can find a lot of stuff in the Bible that's against also. So the biggest thing I want to talk about is talk about Jesus a little bit. Jesus was brought up to me a few days ago. I run ads on Facebook every now and then. So I decided to do a little promotion to bring new people to my page. And a gentleman saw it and he commented about why do people go to psychics when they can just go to Jesus? And I don't necessarily disagree with that because I do believe we should be talking and doing this for ourselves. But one of the things I do is I help people, or I kind of see myself as a facilitator of connecting you with your team and your guides because I know you already have them. And my hope is to help you understand that you can communicate with them all on your own. And you don't necessarily need a psychic or a medium for that. So I know it's counterintuitive. You think about it. I'm putting myself out of a job. But I think there's always things that I can be doing to help people, and that's my goal. So when he commented and said people should be going to Jesus, I said, absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree with you. Jesus is an ascended master. If you don't know what that is, I'll try to find some links and post in the thread. But ascended masters no longer have to walk the physical earth. They have ascended, which is something we're all aspiring to on some level. Okay? So there are many ascended masters. Jesus is just one of them. And many of us work with him. Many. He's actually one of my ascended masters. I also work with Buddha on occasion. I know. I do believe we can work with all of them, and it depends on what level we're at or what we're experiencing in our own life. Okay, so the gentleman had made a comment. I responded in kind with my thoughts on that, and that Jesus was an ascended master. And he came back and said, ma'am, I don't think you understand. So we should not be talking to mediums. It's against the God. It's against God. It's in the Bible. It's against God. And so those are little trigger points for me. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible. I, again, am not a biblical scholar, but I've read pieces here and there, enough to get me by. I think the biggest thing my biggest takeaway is to be kind to others and to love one another. And that's kind of what Jesus taught us, isn't it? Is that we should not be judging. And one of the things that he was quoted to have said is, please forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. So here is this man, and Jesus would have been a medium because he did speak with the dead according to the Bible. Okay, a kind, loving, trying to help people, yes? So, and he knew some truths, and he was trying to help people, and he was crucified for that, well, amongst other things. So let's say we have Jesus here who is a medium, and he's trying to help people. And now this guy is actually quoting Jesus, telling me we need to go to Jesus and not to mediums. And again, I say, I think we all should go to Jesus. 100% agree with that. But he's saying that a medium is against God. And if you've ever gone to a medium, any of the ones that I've ever connected with besides myself were very much of believing in a higher power, believing in God, believing in this fact that we're all loved and supported. I personally see God a little differently. I see God as like a parent, a very loving parent who's here to help us grow and to be with us. Not sitting up there with a gavel saying you're going to go to hell and you're going to go to hell and you're no, not at all. That is not how I see it in my heart. What I also find really interesting is the very same people who are telling mediums or telling me that what I'm doing is against God, they're judging me for what I do. And I'm pretty sure that's a commandment. I'm pretty sure we're not supposed to be judging one another, but that is a stand this person took, and that is okay for him to do. So for me, it drives me a little crazy when I see people going, you can't do this, but you can do this. You can't be a medium, but I can judge you. Really? That doesn't make any sense. So, and what ends up happening for me is I end up negating anything that they end up having to say because I'm like, well, you're picking and choosing. You're picking and choosing what you think what works for you in this timeline. So, I want to tell people what I know to be true. I know that I am not being judged for being a medium. That God is not up there with a gavel saying, wait till you get up here, I got a surprise. So we're not given abilities and then told not to use them. That doesn't happen. We have these abilities because we're supposed to be here to help one another. Another thing that I believe to be true is that the Bible, while it's supposed to be written through God's eyes, I do believe it was written by man, and I also believe that it was used for a means of control. I'm not saying that there's not a lot of good that comes from religion. Nope, because I've seen it myself. I've seen some beautiful things happen. I've seen some people make some amazing changes because of their belief and their hope and their faith in God. So that is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that I believe that the Bible is used as a tool to create control over humans. If a medium would be able to tell you our souls are safe, we're loved, we're being supported and guided, that would kind of take away some of that control that's being thrown at us, wouldn't it? Yeah? Maybe? I also want to throw out there are over 400 religions in our world. Over 400. And if I had somebody who could do videos, I would have pop-ups. 400 religions! 400 religions! That's a lot of religions. There are some very similar laws, if you will, for each of the religions, or truths to follow. Being kind, not coveting thy neighbor, not judging, loving one another. So those are some very simple things that we can all follow, not killing. Those are some things for everybody, and most religions have those as their indoctrinations. Am I saying that correctly? Probably not. Google it. So we have some very basic principles that we should all be following, and I think for the most part, most of us do. But there are certain things that some people just cannot. Nope, not gonna let that go. I'm gonna go poke that one. And that's what the gentleman was doing the other day. He was like, poke. And I was like, poke. So I'd gone over to my Facebook page and I was talking a little bit about the experience that I had with this gentleman. And I knew at some point he just really didn't want to hear anything I had to say. He simply just wanted to state what he had to say, period. And what I find interesting is most of the time when people are making those kinds of comments about, what you're doing is against God, again, they don't want to hear anything I have to say. They simply, this is how I feel and you listen to me. And if you agree with them, yes, I understand how you feel, then they get mad at you. Well, you're not even getting mad about it. Well, it's going to waste my energy. And as I'm getting older, I don't have as much as I used to, so I'm going to use it sparingly. Getting mad at you isn't a priority, so it doesn't behoove me. There was a point in my life where I felt like it did. I'm going to get mad back. Not anymore. Or I suppose maybe it just depends on the situation before I decide I'm going to use my energy. All right, so also what I wanted to touch on, and I think I did slightly, but that Jesus was a medium. Okay, if he's communicating with the dead, which it says he does in the Bible, that makes him a medium. Okay, so all of these people who are saying goes against Jesus or goes against God, God's son was a medium. I'm just saying. Moses, who downloaded the Ten Commandments, would have made him a medium, wouldn't it? Because he was communicating with another realm, with a higher force, with with a spiritual energy. That would make him a medium of some sense. So, and I also want to point out that nowhere in the Ten Commandments does it say, don't cohort with a medium. Don't communicate. The Ten Commandments, I am the Lord, your God. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Has anybody ever done that? It says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Does everybody do that? Honor your father or your father. Honor your father and your mother. I hope everybody's doing all of these. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not gosh darn it, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor, accusing them of something they didn't do. You shall not covet anything that is your neighbor's. Nowhere in those commandments does it say thou shalt not communicate with a psychic or a medium. Again, and the reason I'm making this video, one of the things, because I'm always I get triggered a little bit sometimes, is that, again, I believe that it's used as a means to control, because if we know that we're safe, as I said already, if we know that we're safe and that we're loved and we're supported from the other side, and that we're here to live our lives, it takes away a lot of control that certain forces have over us, doesn't it? It eliminates that control. So that's what I think the Bible does to some degree. Again, not all of it, but I do think there are things in there. If I'm remembering correctly, and I do not know what verse it is, so somebody wants to look it up, I would love that, and you're welcome to post it. But there are pieces of the Bible that it says too that women should marry their rapist, or if they're unclean, they should be stoned. Children can be dragged in the streets and stoned. Okay, probably some scholars are like, it doesn't say that. But I'm pretty sure there's parts in there that say something very similar. So it might not be word for word, but it's going to be very similar. We don't do that anymore, do we? So what I find that a lot of people who, maybe biblical scholars, maybe people very religious, will use the Bible, and they'll use certain words in certain parts of the Bible to feed their story and what they want to present. But I think that if you really get in there and look at it and you feel it in your heart, there are so many things that are so outdated and that we don't believe anymore. And the ministers at churches will come up with reasons for that. And I know that to be true because I've experienced that as well. Well, that was so back then. That was a long time ago, and we don't see things that way anymore. We changed it. Really, you changed the Word of God. Isn't that interesting? You can just do that. You can just change it. Somebody did along the way. Okay, interpretation is everything, isn't it? So anytime you go to that fear-based situation where you're afraid to do something, and I've had a lot of people come to me who were terrified and they wanted a reading so bad, they wanted some direction and some insight and to know that they were okay, but they were so terrified to think they're going to go to hell or they're going to be judged or they're going to this. I mean, that is bullshit. That's more satanic than anything I would ever do. That's darker than anything I would ever do, is to create and throw fear at people. Like, you can't do this because you're going to go to hell. I mean, that's just brutal. To create so much fear over somebody that you push them down instead of lift them up and help them grow. I don't think we should be living at the words of a psychic, but I do think that psychics and mediums can assist us on our journey. Okay? I don't feel like it's my job to tell somebody what to do, but I do feel like I might be able to find areas in somebody's life where I can help them move through it. Like areas, maybe something that happened when they were younger that they're holding on to and they might not realize this is a piece that you have to go in and look at and process it. Okay? Or this is a path that's coming up for you. Or just certain little pieces of somebody's day that I might be able to assist them in getting over and through. So that's what I see my job as a psychic. As a medium, I believe my job is to connect with those in spirit and then share their stories and their validations and letting people know they're safe, they're not in hell. There's a lot of mistruths about suicide and things of that nature also, and I believe that it's important to get those messages out. And and I think that if we could teach our littles how to connect with their higher selves from the time they're little, it would take away a lot of the stress that they have growing up, and a lot of the things going into adulthood that might help them. They understood how to meditate and how to come within. There's a lot of misunderstanding about that. A lot of people don't understand meditation. They don't understand why you would meditate. They don't understand the higher self. I do believe all of this is opening up, which I'm really excited for. But it's still a work in progress. Okay. So I was just looking at my notes here to see if there was something else that I wanted to talk about. Let's see. Mostly, I think I got most of it. The lack of fear, letting go of the fear. Okay. If you guys have questions on this, I would love to have you drop them below, and I'll respond as I can and to what I know to be true. Again, I want to point out, it's probably not something I need to point out at this point, but I'm not a biblical scholar, but I am a human being, I am a psychic, and I am a medium, and I do know that there are some truths and some mistruths, and I would like to help reduce the fear over going to a medium. And so I'm hoping to do a video on that too, on what to look for in an upstanding medium and what not to do. I also would like to do something about curses, because I do believe there's a lot of people who believe in those, and I think they make those come true. And I would really like to help people get rid of that energy also. Okay, so I send you love. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And be kind to everybody, because you do not know what they're fighting.